Psalms chapter 43 to 45, then moving on to the book of Proverbs chapter 9, and then the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4. We're going to start in the book of Psalms chapter 43, verse 1. Rule me, rule me rightly, O Elohim, and plead my cause against a nation without loving commitment. So rule me rightly. Rule me like everyone want to be, you know, ruled and judged fairly. David was the same way. Rule me rightly, O Elohim, and plead my cause against a nation without loving commitment. Like, compare me to this nation without loving commitment. Like, plead my cause against it. O deliver me from a man of deceit and unrighteousness. A man of deceit and unrighteousness. Man of deceit is one who's deceiving others, and one who's unrighteous is one who has no consideration for the commandments. Verse 2, for you are the Elohim of my strength. Why have you rejected me? Why do I go mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Because of the oppression of the enemy. There was always an enemy oppressing since the time of David, clearly. And even David was mourning, trying to get the Most High to intervene. Verse 3, send forth your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let me bring me let them bring me to your set apart mountain. And the set apart mountain is the kingdom, and to your dwelling place. Verse 4, that I might come to the slaughter place of Elohim, to El, the joy of my delight, and praise you with the lyre, O Elohim, my Elohim. Verse 5, why are you depressed, O my being? And why are you restless within me? Wait for Elohim, for I shall yet thank him, the deliverance of my face and my Elohim. So this is this is David clearly speaking to his spirit, like he's speaking to his flesh, his spirit, his flesh, and because the being is always equivalent is when you see the word being, you have to automatically think of the spirit. So he's speaking to he's talking about his spirit within him, why his spirit is weary, why his spirit depressed, why his spirit is restless is within him. And we all get to that point where we feel our spirits are restless, our spirits are depressed. We feel, we just don't feel right. We just don't feel confident. We just don't feel assured, and that's due to a lot of our guilt, a lot of you know, our choices that we've made, or actions and words that we use, and they bring conviction, and with conviction brings depression, with conviction brings, you know um stress. So yeah, verse chapter 44, verse 1. O Elohim, we have heard with our ears, our father have related to us the work you did in their days. in the days of old. So this is David clearly explaining how, clearly explaining how, you know, the stories were passed down to him. You know what I mean? The stories of old, the stories, of their forefathers were passed down to him. And, it says, "O Elohim, we have heard with our ears, our fathers have related to us the work you did in their days, in the days of old." So this is how those stories, this is how these stories that we're speaking and we're reading today, got to us. Verse 2, you drove out the nations with your hand, but them you planted. You afflicted peoples and sent them out. Verse 3, for not by their own sword did they possess the land, neither did their own arm save them, but it was your right hand and your arm and the light of your face, because you delighted in them. So not by man that the ancient Israelites, you know, prevail over their enemies. It was not by their sword, it was not by their arm, it was not by their hand. It was by the arm and the hand of the Most High and the light of his face. So, and that's to this day. You got a lot of things going on, a lot of, you know, a lot of men thinking that it's due to what they're doing and how they are and how they're strong and their weapons or whatever the case may be. The Most High, the Most High is only going to allow who He wants He's only going to allow who He wants to prevail. You know, and it's already written. It's already established. You know what I mean? It's already established. Verse 4, you yourself are my sovereign, O Elohim. Command deliverance for your command deliverance for Jacob. Verse 5, through you we push our enemies, through your name we tread down those who rise up against us. So through the Most High's name, it's through the name of Yah that we prevail. It's through the name of Yah that we overcome. Verse 6, for I do not trust in my bow, and my sword does not save me. So even David didn't trust in his bow. Even David didn't trust in the same slingshot that he used, or the bow that he used, or the sword that he used. He's clearly explaining how it was the Most High he trusted in. It was the Most High he trusted in. For I do not trust in my bow, and my sword does not save me. Nothing, no weapon. You hear the verse, no weapon formed against us. But our own weapons don't you know don't prevail over others either. Like, what I'm saying. So it's really the power of the Most High. You know what I mean? And it's His strength that we're able to overcome whomever that comes against us. And you have to trust that. Verse 7, for you have saved us from our enemies and have put to shame those who hated us. This is what he does for those, who follow his instructions. This is what he does for those who, you know, honor his commands, guard his commands. This is what he does for those who, you know, respect and obey his spiritual government, the spiritual laws of his government, of his spiritual government, not the world government. Verse 8, in Elohim we shall boast all day long and praise your name forever. Verse 9, yet you have rejected us and put us to shame, and you do not go with our armies. There you go. That's, man, if the Most High isn't with your army, what army do you really have? If he's not with your army, what army do you really have? Verse 10, you make us turn back from the adversary, and those who hate us have plundered us. Verse 11, you do give us a sheep, you do give us as sheep to be beaten, and you have scattered us among the nations. Verse 12, you sell your people for no value and have set no high price on them. Let's read this again. You do give us as sheep to be eaten, and you have scattered us among the nations. You sell your people for no value and have set no high price on them. Verse 13, you make us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a mockery to those round about us. Verse 14, you make us a proverb among the nations, a shaking of the head among the peoples. Does this sound familiar? Like, does this sound like a certain people? And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 44, verse 11 to 14. It just remind me of certain people, you know, who the Most High is responsible for the predicament they're in, we're in, because I'm part of that people. Verse 15, my reproach is always before me, and the shame of my face has covered me because of the voice of the slanderer and blasphemer, because of the enemy and avenger. Verse 17, all this has come upon us, but we have not forgotten you, neither have we been false to your covenant. Verse 18, our heart has not turned back, neither has our step swerved from your way. Neither have our steps swerved from your way. Verse 19, yet you have crushed us in the place of jackals and covered us with the shadows of death. So we didn't forget, you know, we didn't forget, even though we were scattered, even though the slanderers and the blasphemers and the enemies and avengers, all this has come upon us, but we have not forgotten. Neither have we been false to your covenant. Yet you have crushed us in the place of jackals and covered us with the shadow of death. Verse 20, if we have forgotten the name of our Elohim, or stretched out our hands to a foreign mighty one. Verse 21, will Elohim not search this out? For he knows the secrets of our heart. He knows the secrets of the heart. He knows if we're into false deities and into false prophets and into false teachings and falsehood. He knows this. He knows if our hearts is into the falsehood, and he'll search it out. You can't hide nothing from the creator of the heart. Can't hide nothing from the creator of the body. Can't hide nothing of the you can't hide nothing from the creator of the mind. What can you hide? Your thoughts you can't hide. Your feelings, emotions you can't hide. Verse 22, but for your sake we are killed all day long, reckoned as sheep for the slaughter. Verse 23, awake, why do you sleep, O Yahuwah? Arise, do not reject us forever. Verse 4, why do you hide your face, ignoring our affliction and our oppression? So even David was feeling like he wasn't getting the answer from the Most High. Even David was feeling, rejected and on his own. Even David was feeling like he wasn't getting the answer, and why do you hide your face, ignoring our affliction and our oppression? Why do you hide your face, ignoring our affliction and our oppression? Is this not what we secretly ask today? Is this not what we ask the Most High today? Is this not what we ask each other? Why the Most High is not intervening today? Is this not, this is the same questions we ask today? Why do you hide your face, ignoring our affliction and our oppression? This is the same questions that we ask the Most High within ourselves. Verse 25, for our being is bowed down to the dust, our body cleaves to the earth. Verse 26, arise, be our help, and redeem us for your loving commitment's sake. Verse 45, my heart is overwhelming with chapter 45, verse 1. This is the book of Psalms, by the way. Book of Psalms, chapter 45, verse 1. My heart is overflowing with a goodly word. I address my works to sovereign. My tongue is the pen of a speedy writer. Verse 2, you are more handsome than the sons of men. Favor has been poured upon your lips. Therefore, Elohim has blessed you forever. Verse 3, gird your sword upon your thigh, O mighty one, your excellency and your splendor. Verse 4, and ride prosperous in your splendor on the matter of truth and humility, righteousness. And let your right hand lead you to awesome matters. Verse 5, your arrows are sharp in the heart of the sovereign's enemies. Peoples fall under you. Verse 6, your throne, O Elohim, is forever and ever. The scepter, the sceptre of your the sceptre of your reign is a sceptre of straightness. Verse 7, you have loved righteousness. You have loved righteousness and hated wrongness. Love righteousness and hated wrongness. This is what we got to be on. We got to love righteousness and hate wrongness. We got to hate evil. Even if this wrongness is within ourselves, even when this wrongness is within ourselves, even when this evil is within our thoughts, even when this evil is within our emotions. We got to hate it. We got to do our best to hate it. We got to do our best to hate it. That's our job. That's our duty. It's to hate what the Most High hates. You know, we got to hate what He hates, even if it's something within ourselves, even if it's thoughts within ourselves, habits within ourselves, actions with, feelings, emotions within ourselves. We got to do our best to hate it. Love righteousness and hate wrongness. Therefore, Elohim, your Elohim has anointed you with the oil of gladness more than your companions. The oil of gladness. It's a blessing to just be glad, to just have the emotion of being glad. That's a blessing, man. Like, I'm glad you're in a good mood. You're happy. You're excited, glad. That's not a given. To be glad is not a given, man. Because it could be something to be sad about. It could be something to be depressed about. It could be something to be stressed about. It could be something to be worried about. It could be all things to make you the opposite of glad. And whenever you get that feeling of gladness, you gotta count it as a blessing, because it's people, it's many people all over this world who are not experiencing in that feeling of gladness. Now you got parts of the world that are rough and gone through things, and they find a way to get that feeling of gladness. But you got some miserable people, man. You know, for their own doing, like for their own reasons. You have some miserable people out there, man, and they just don't have that. They're not blessed to be glad. They don't have the oil of gladness. Is what what this reads. With the oil of gladness more than, he says, therefore Elohim, your Elohim has anointed you with the oil of gladness more than your companions. And I know this is like where it says Elohim, your Elohim, therefore Elohim, your Elohim. Like, so this is a clear example. When that word is being used twice, it's clearly someone is a ruler. Someone is a ruler. You know what I mean? Because that's what the word means, like ruler, master, like sensei. You know what I mean? A ruler, a leader. That's in this word it gets misinterpreted as being the word God, and like as meaning the Most High. And sometimes the Most High is described as the ruler and the mighty one, but you have other mighty ones like that are not the Most High, that are just mere men, and they're mighty ones, like they're just rulers, like they were leaders, you know. So whenever and it's being described, you got to know the it's very important to know the etymology of words. Verse 8: all your garments are myrrh and aloes and cassia, out of the places of ivory. String instruments have made you glad. String instruments have made you glad. String instruments have made you glad. So, like, here we go, describing the string instruments, and this is David, so he knows how a string instrument make a person glad, because he used the string instrument to to cheer up Saul, to cheer up Shaul. He used the string instrument to cheer up Shaul, Saul. So this is where we play music to feel better. Some, certain music, certain our favorite songs, you know, are certain songs, certain songs, are certain, that, certain music, certain genres of music makes us feel better, you know? And there's a reason for that. There's strings and chords and instruments that's being played, just for that. Their purpose is just for that. Verse 9, daughters of sovereigns are among your precious ones. At your right hand stands the sovereignness in gold from Ophir. Hmm. The sovereignness. The sovereignness in gold from Ophir. So this is talking about a queen. Verse 10, listen, O daughter, and see and incline your ear and forget your own people in your father's house. Verse 11, and let the sovereign delight in your loveliness, because he is your master. Bow yourself to him. So this is like, a queen to a king. Verse 12, and the daughter of Zor with a gift, the rich among the people seek your favor. Verse 13, the daughter of the sovereign is all esteemed within the palace. Her dress is embroidered with gold. Verse 14, she is brought to sovereign in embroidered work. Maidens, her companions following her, are brought to you. Verse 15, they are brought with gladness and rejoicing. They enter the sovereign's palace. Verse 16, fathers, instead of your fathers are your sons. Instead of your fathers are your sons, whom you appoint princes in all the earth. Appointed princes in all the earth. Verse 17, I cause your name to be remembered in all generations. Therefore, the people praise you forever and ever. So I can only, this only make me think about the Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, the only begotten son. It's the only one, that's the only person I can think of this is speaking, this whole chapter was speaking about. With the exception, maybe the queen as well, basically queen bowing to the Mashiach, the King of Kings, you know, maybe. But that completes the chapter. That completes the reading of Psalms. We're going to get into the book of Proverbs. Book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 1. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out its seven columns. Verse 2. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also prepared her table. Verse 3. She has sent out her young women and cries out for the highest places of the city. Verse 4. Who is simple? Let him turn in here. As for him who lacks heart, she says to him. Verse 5. Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Verse 6. Leave the simple ones and live. Leave the simple ones and live. And walk in the way of understanding. This is what wisdom is saying to all of us. Leave the simple ones and live. This is what wisdom has to say to us. Leave the simple ones and live. Those who are simple minded, those who are content with nonsense, content with mocking and making a fool of themselves, try to make a fool of others and mocking and making fun of others. And that's what they do all day long. I mean, it's one thing to, joke and but to do that all day long, nonsense, This is what wisdom has to say to him. Leave the simple ones and live, and walk in the way of understanding. Verse 7, he who reproves a scoffer gets shame for himself. So if you correct one who is mocking others, you bring shame on yourself. Why? Because this is what happens. He who reproves a scoffer gets shame for himself, and who rebukes a wrong one gets himself a blemish. You know, this is what mockers do. You try to correct someone for making fun of another person, they're going to turn around and try to make fun of you. You try to intervene, they mess around and try to, fight you and leave you with a blemish, put hands on you. Verse 8, do not reprove a scoffer, lest he hate you. Reprove a wise one, and he loves you. So don't correct a person that mocks others. Don't correct a person who makes fun of others unless it's your child. Unless that person is your child making fun of others, don't correct them. Unless that person is a relative of yours, don't correct them. Because if you do, they will hate you. They will hate you for correcting them for making fun of others. Now, reprove a wise one, and he loves you. So if you correct a wise one for doing something out of pocket that they know better, not to do, they'll love you for that. If you correct a wise person who knows better, who knows that they were wrong, and for sure that they know that they know they wrong, and know that when they're wrong, and they can handle criticism, that person will love you if you correct them. They can accept criticism because they criticize themselves. They could accept correction because they correct themselves already. So when you correct them when they're wrong and when they're out of pocket, when they're, we can appreciate that. People like us, we can appreciate that, because it's like it has to be a person that already humbles themselves and correct themselves on a regular. So if you point out something that they were slipping up on, or they're going to appreciate that and love you for that. Like, you're right, you're right, you're right, because they humble enough to say that you're right in how they were wrong, and your discernment would know who these people are. Your discernment would know who these people are and if that person is you. So yeah, do not correct the scoffer. Do not correct one who mocks and make fun of others, lest they hate you. Correct the wise one, and he loves you. Verse 9, give instruction to a wise one, and he is wiser still. Teach a righteous one, and he increases in learning. So you teach one who is already learning, already seeking, and already listening, they'll increase their learning. They'll be wiser. You know, you introduce instruction to them, especially the instructions of God, they become wiser. Verse 10, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. And the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding. The knowledge of the set apart one is understanding. So when you're able to understand something, that's not a given. That's a blessing, because there's a lot of people who misunderstand. It's many, many people, 90% of people, I ain't 75% of people in this world misunderstands. 75% of the, and I'm just trying to be fair with that number. 75% of the world misunderstands you know, what needs to be understood, what should be understood. So it's like, and that's the knowledge of the set apart. That's the knowledge of God. You have to understand his instructions. Understand Once you understand his instructions and you start following his instructions, then you'll pick up discernment. You'll pick up spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You'll start to pick up those gifts and insight, foresight, intuition, understanding. Verse 11, for by me your days become many, and years of life are added to you. So by wisdom, years of life are added to you. By spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, years of life is added to you. Verse 12, if you have become wise, you have become wise for yourself. And if you have scoffed, you alone bear it. If you make fun of others, you alone will reap the repercussions for that. You know, the consequences and repercussions for that. You alone will bear that, making fun of others and mocking others. Verse 13, a foolish woman is loud, a simple verse 13. A foolish woman is loud, simple, and without knowledge. Verse 4. For she has seated herself at the door of her house, on a seat by the highest places of the city. Is this not familiar? Is this not somebody in our neighborhood? One of our neighbors, one of the neighbors, one of the people that live on our street, someone that we know, one of the females in our streets, in our neighborhood, in our community, on our block, on the street that we live on. Is this not a foolish woman that we know? Loud, simple, and without knowledge, and seats herself at the door of her house, like sits on her porch, on the seat by the highest places of the city. Verse 15, to call to those who pass by, she waving down people driving by, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way, just minding their business. And she's like, yo, come back, yelling. Verse 16, who is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks heart, she says to him, verse 17, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasing, is pleasant. So this is what she's saying to him. Basically, like, yo, go rob, go steal, and bring some money back so we can go shopping. Bring some money back so we can get intoxicated. This is any and everybody has a woman like this in their neighborhood. I don't care what neighborhood it is. I don't care if it's a suburban neighborhood or a hood. Everybody has a person like this in their neighborhood, and they might not even know. Like a woman that's, it says a foolish woman who is loud, simple, and without knowledge. For she has seated herself at the door of her house, on a seat by the highest place on the city, to call to those pass by who go straight on their way. Just calling people down, flagging strangers down, flagging people that got somewhere to be, flagging them down. Anybody, come chill with me, come smoke with me, come drink with me. To call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Verse 16, who is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks heart, she says to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there. Her guests are the depths, her guests are in the depths of the Sheol. Her guests are in the depths of the grave. This is where her guests are, either dead or in jail, either unalive or in jail. This is where the foolish woman, this is the path. This is where the foolish woman lead you to. The foolish woman will lead you to the prison or the grave. That was the book of Proverbs chapter 9. The book of Proverbs chapter 9. Now we're going to finish this reading in the book of Ecclesiastes. The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. Then I looked again and at then I looked again at all the oppression that is done under the sun. This is Solomon, by the way. He's observed everything to observe, and this is his conclusion that he's sharing with us, venting. Then I looked again at all the oppression that is done under the sun, and see the tears of the oppressed, but they have no comforter, and power on the side of their oppressors, but they have no comforter. Is this not us today? Let's keep reading. Verse 2. Therefore I commend the unalive, the dead who were already unalive, who are already dead, more than the living, who are still alive. He commends the unalive more than those who are alive. Why is this? Verse 3. And better than both is he who has never existed. Wow. So better than both the alive and the unalive is one who never existed, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun, who has not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. And we can't unsee what we saw. We can't unsee what we've seen. And we've seen some evils, and some people more seen more evil than others. Verse 4. And I saw that all the toil and the skill of the work brings envy between man and his neighbor. That too is futile and feeding on wind. So this is what he saw, and this is what we're seeing today. The work and the toil and the work and the labor that a person puts in his life, years worth of work, years of working hard and for this, that, and it only brings envy towards him by his neighbors. It only makes his neighbors envy him. It only makes his neighbors envy him. He work hard and you know make a living for himself, find a career and thrive in, and that only causes your neighbors to envy. That only causes your neighbor to envy you. Verse 5. The fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. Verse 6. Better is a hand filled with rest than both hands filled with toil and feeding on wind. Better is a hand filled with rest than both hands filled with toil. That's the goal, man, is to get rest and really, really cherish days like this, the seventh day to rest. Cherish a day like this, and because rest, man, you have people in parts of the world, they are forced, labor is forced on them. Labor is forced on them, and they can't get no rest. And even in this part of the world, even myself, I have to work. Now it's our curse to work. Is the man's curse to work? It's the man's curse to labor 6 days. And if you're not laboring, then you you may be one of the rare ones to be blessed, or you may be, cutting corners and working for the workers of wickedness. And that's a whole nother story. Verse 7. Then I looked again at futility under the sun. Verse 8. There is one without a second, who has neither son nor brother, and there is no end to all his labor. His eye also is not satisfied with riches. And for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of good? That too is futility and an evil task. So if when one is just working and don't have no one to share it with, don't no have no one to enjoy the fruits of his labor with, no one to leave it to. Verse 9, two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Two are better than one, man. Find you a life partner to do life with, because one laboring is just one laboring, and it's tough for one person laboring. But when two people are working, they'll be able to they are fulfilling whatever it is that they need. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. They have a good reward for their labor. Verse 10. For if they fall, one lifts his companion up. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Find you a life partner, man. I need to find one myself. I need to find a worthy life partner. There's many people who want to be a life partner, and they're not ready for that. You know, they're in the wrong place mentally. You know what I mean? You have to be in the right place to partner up with someone. You have to know you can't you have to know that you're not going to waste that person's time, and that person is not going to waste your time. You know, two are better than one because they have a good reward for for their labor. Verse 10. For if they fall, one lifts his companion up, but woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to lift him up. You have to find someone to lift you up, man. Find someone in this world to do life with, to do life with. Verse 11. Also, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how does one keep warm by himself? How? Verse 12. Although one might be overpowered, two withstand him, and a threefold cord is not readily broken. Verse 13. A poor and wise youth is better than an old and foolish sovereign, who no longer knows how to take warning. So this is the youth, you know, out maneuvering the old. Verse 14. For he comes out of prison to be sovereign, although in his reign he was born poor. Verse 15. I have seen all the living who walk under the sun. They were with the second youth who stands in his place. Verse 16. There was no end of all the people, all whom he headed, but the ones who come afterward do not rejoice in him, for that too is futile and feeding on wind. Hallelujah, hallelujah, praise Yah, may all glory be to Yah, Yahuwah, Shabbat, Yahuwah, Almighty Yahuwah, Most High Yahuwah, El Shaddai. That completes the reading for tonight. We're going to pick back up tomorrow, Yah willing, in the book of Genesis and in the book of Isaiah. No, in the book of Genesis. No, not even Genesis no more. We're finished Genesis. We're going to pick back up in the book of Exodus, and we're going to go from Exodus to the book of Isaiah, Yah willing. We're going to go from the book of Exodus to the book of Jeremiah because we finished Isaiah as well. So from Exodus to Jeremiah, y'all willing, that's the reading for tomorrow. I'm gonna bless us out according to the blessing that was given to the Moshe to bless the folks in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 23 to 26. Receive your blessing. May Yahuwah bless you, barak you, and guard you. May Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Peace, love, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, peace and love. Appreciate the gift, appreciate the love. You just pulled up late. We're going to pick back up tomorrow in the book of Exodus and the book of Isaiah. So if you can make it, send a follow. If not, Yah bless you. Peace, love, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, peace and love.